Okay guys, on today's edition of more repairs on high mileage shit boxes, I have to do the rear brakes on this driver's side wheel on the back of this F250, 08 F250. So I had planned to reuse this. I was able to compress that caliper there, and the problem is the pads were rusted to this bracket, and I had to beat them with a hammer to get them off. So I cleaned the bracket up and put it back on, but there's too much rust in here and the pads will not slide on it. So I'm going to have to take that off, and I bought a new caliper and a new bracket. So here's the caliper I bought. I got it on Crapazon, and I used one on the front. They're actually a pretty good part, so I'm not complaining, but the packaging is so flimsy that the bleeder screw just the way they package this, the bleeder screw pokes right through the bottom, and then it's dragging. So I'm not too pleased with that. I have complained about it, but as you are aware, nobody really cares. And so anyway, you pay your money, you take your chances. And here are the pads I got for the back Wagner, and that's the part number there, MX1334. Made in USA, woohoo! Yes, so this new caliper also comes with the hardware, the banjo bolt, washers, and the clips for the pad, so that's kind of nice. Let's get this out. Okay, so we got those bolts out. Again, 21 millimeters. And now we'll go ahead and take this bracket off. And as you can see there, the rust has grown on there and I just cannot reuse it. So we'll get the new bracket on and get it torqued down. 160 foot-pounds. Okay, so we're going to get these bracket bolts out so we can detach that from the caliper, and that is a 17 millimeter head on that bolt. Okay, so I got the bolts out. Now we'll set them aside and take the caliper off, and then we're going to get these pins out and get the brake grease, and I'll show you how we're going to lube them up. Okay, so I was going to lubricate these pins, but they're already lubricated. I might put a little bit more on the pin, but the other ones weren't lubricated. So, and this is the stuff that I use. It's just Permatex brake lube. So we'll go ahead and put some on these pins and put them back in. Okay, so there's a little bit of lube on that. You don't need a whole lot, so I'm going to put some more on though, just to be on the safe side. So that's about enough there. A little dollop, and then just spread it around like so. And get it up here underneath where the boot's going to go against that flat spot on that pin. You want some up there. And that's a pretty good bunch there, so and just go ahead and put it back in the boot. And then make sure the boot comes over top of that lip. Like so. See how it's over the lip and it's against the top of the pin. So now we'll do the other one. Okay, so there we are. We got those lubed and back in. And now we're going to get this bracket on the wheel. Okay, so we're just going to hand tighten these bolts. And be careful when you're putting those on that you line them up and don't, they're not easy to find the hole exactly. So the bottom one seems to work best to go first, and then the top one. But you got to be careful. You don't want to strip anything. So now we'll torque these up to 160 foot-pounds. Okay, so that's on. That's torqued down. So now we're going to put some never sees in these slots. Right in there and in there on both sides. And then we're going to get the pads in. Okay, as you can see, the never sees I've got in all 4 slots. Just be careful not to get it on the rotors. You can use brake lube too if you want, I guess, and I just use never sees. So let's get the pads ready. Okay, so the difference, the front pads had these pins, and you had to offset the clip to go on the pin. That way you knew which way the spring went against the bracket. These don't have pins, so I'm going to have to see about getting these clips on the right way. We'll be back. Okay guys, so it's important to get these clips on properly. They really are a bit of a pain in the ass. For some reason this pad does not want to fit with the clips in. I don't know if it's slightly different. I should hope not. But anyway, here's how you put them on, like this. Just like that. And then that spring keeps the pad popping back. Okay, so there's the pads on. And as you can see, they spring back like they're supposed to. That's how that clip works. So let's go ahead and get caliper on. Okay, so it's a bit of a squeeze, but okay, so this is a little tricky, this one. I don't know why, but it's a bit of a squeeze to get that on there. So I'll give you a little tip. You see these? Turn them the other way. They look like they'd be okay to go there, but that is a little longer than that slot. And I bent 2 of them on another one I did. Didn't matter too much, but turn that. I want to turn that horizontally, so the flat's horizontal. So we'll get these tightened up. They are 17 millimeters, and I believe 55 foot-pounds, but I'm going to look that up. And I did put never sees on them. More in a minute. Okay, so they're on there, 55 foot-pounds, 17 millimeter, and you see how that's going, right? Horizontal, straight horizontal. Don't be a dummy like me and end up bending the tab on there a little bit, which is what I did on that front wheel. So now we're going to get this plug out of here, get the old banjo bolt off of that other one, clean the line, and get it on here with the new crush washers and tighten it down. And try not to lose too much fluid in the process. More in a minute. Okay, so there's the banjo bolt we're going to get off of there. Hopefully. If I had any brains and I took it off when the thing was still on the wheel. But anyway. And that's a 14 millimeter, and there's my tool. So I'm going to take that off. Screwdriver pries the old crush washers off. I got my brass brush to clean the fitting, and then we'll get that right in there in the new one. More in a minute. Okay, so I had to use my impact gun to get that off, so be smart. Don't be like me, because all that stuff's pretty fragile up there. So I'm just going to clean this all up. It has a brass fitting, and the washers have already come off, crush washers. So I'm going to clean it up, and we're going to get that on the We're going to get that on the new caliper. Okay, so I've got that cleaned up. You don't want to manhandle it, and you got to be careful you don't scratch that fitting. And so now we're going to get this thing on. I believe it's a 14 millimeter, and I have never seen a torque spec on this particular thing. I just tighten it until it doesn't leak. So there's the new bolt. So you want one washer on the front and then one on the back. Okay, so we're done. So I'm just going to have to bleed these, and I'll have to wait till someone gets home to help me put the wheel back on because they're heavy wheels. But that's all she wrote, and we're all finished with the back wheel, and hopefully that's the end of this story of one repair after another on this 2008 Ford F250 Super Duty. Catch you later.